that acted as an anticipation for this, where he turns and he finally sees her. But we get enough time to read this pose of him seeing her. His eyes never leave her. He's still looking at her. Like, sometimes when people animate this kind of thing, they might take the eyes off the subject. They might suddenly throw them onto the ground. But that actually disrupts where the audience is looking. So it's always good if you want somebody to focus on a certain point, and in this case they wanted people to focus on Mim about to eat him. Keep your character's eyes sort of focused on their point of interest. So again, anticipations, down, really nice down. And the interesting thing to me is that he actually comes up off the ground entirely here. So his down turns into, a real up. He pulls his whole body into his hat. And the neat thing is, the body doesn't actually translate all the way up into the hat. He pulls the hat down as the rest of his body comes up. So both of these objects are traveling towards each other. And that makes for a more dynamic motion. Again, because of the shape change. But if you look at the path that the hat follows, again, this is a really quick action. So he's doing the same kind of thing that they did in the Porky Pig cartoon, where they're keeping the shape sort of overlapping where it used to be, and that helps we, the audience, to see it more clearly. And then, once the wizard's body is entirely within the hat, it turns into somewhat of a rocket. All the fairy dust comes out and stuff. So let's look at the anticipation on the crocodile now. So she's doing this little hopping thing. And her anticipation, it's not a squash, it's a widening of the mouth. They're making that mouth as wide as it can possibly go to telegraph to the audience that it's about to close. And it's going to close in a big way. Now, if they kept the mouth just a little bit open, it would have still been dangerous, but it wouldn't have been anywhere near as clear as it is by opening this mouth really as wide as it can go. And then snapping on 3 frames just to go down. And then of course they pair that with a really loud sound effect, and that helps too. But look what happens. Just look at the whole body of the alligator. They're pushing, the body compresses down so the leg bends. This is in anticipation for the eventual move up, because now she's pushing herself into the air, the body's rising, and all of this is intended to help her sell the idea that she's going for Merlin's hat. Right? And it's a very clear line of action here through the body. And this, this supports that line of action too. It's sort of a lesser line of action through the same part of the body. But it's all acting as an arrow saying, this is what I want. I want the hat. I want the hat. So that leg had anticipated down. Now it pushes way up, and you get what are called opposing actions. The head comes down and does its snap the way it should. This lower jaw comes up at the same time the upper jaw is going down. In the same way, the top of the body looks like it's going down as the rest of the legs and the belly all go up. So you get this shape change again, and it's a very dynamic shape change. It's both sides of the character coming together to strike a single pose. And then you get the resolution, or the settle. You get the arms start to kind of come down, and after a nice little float, you get the legs come down. But again, notice that they come down not together, but one at a time. having that different timing really sells the organic nature of the character. And sometimes it's okay to twin. You know, that's what's happening here. The arms are twinning as they come down. But usually you do it for effect. And so that snapping of the jaw was the action. The settle happens here, where the feet touch down first, then the chest comes in, and then lastly the head comes down and up. It's a really good cut, actually. Okay, and then she rises into this new rest pose. Okay, so, you know, that's just one more way of looking at this. This was much more elaborate than the Porky Pig stuff. But it's all using the same principles for the same purpose, just in a much more florid way, much more robust way. You guys have any questions about that? No questions? Okay. Cool. Well, I think that's it for today then. So I would encourage you guys, like I found these videos on YouTube, and if you want to do your own studying like this, it was really simple for me just to bring this stuff into Digicel, drop it into a layer. You basically just have to make sure that you download it as an AVI, and then you should be able to drop it into one of your layers, and you can do the same kind of frame-by-frame analysis. And it's a really, really good way to learn this stuff. And I can't emphasize that enough, because I recently came to the realization that I was watching a video that Eric Goldberg recorded. And over time, watching the video, I began to realize he really, really loves to watch and analyze animation. He's not just good because he was just naturally good, although that's part of it. He's good because he loves to look at the stuff, analyze it, and try to understand how it happens and what makes it really work. And his personal favorite is the more cartoony stuff from like Tex Avery and the old Warner Brothers cartoons and that kind of stuff. But he takes those lessons that he learns and he applies it to the fully rendered, beautifully timed Disney animation that he does. So I guess what I'm saying is, don't discount any source of knowledge that you guys can come across, and really try and take advantage of it, and find something you like and drop it into Digicel. It's a great tool. It helps you go frame by frame. It lets you draw over it to try and collect your thoughts, to understand how they did some of these things. And you can even, a neat test would be to take a shot and animate it using a digital character. And basically just go frame by frame and see if you can replicate the timing. And hopefully that way maybe you'll understand a little bit better how they actually got what they got.
Yes.
Okay, but next week, we can talk about breakdown poses and storytelling poses and how you get from one place to the other. And along with that, maybe we can look at some of these videos again, and we can apply that idea of trying to find the breakdown pose to try to understand how they got where they were going. Does that sound of interest to you guys? Okay.
Right.
Cool.